What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on First Take, they're going to be talking about a few comments that Kobe Bryant made about being the GOAT and how he doesn't care if he's the GOAT or not, or where his name even fits in that conversation. So let's see what they have to say on this.
I believe him because he and I have spoken on many occasions over the years. And, you know, my conversations with various Hall of Famers, I think this is the kind of thing that people don't realize. And stay with me on this, Max. A debate about skills and who you think is better based on what you see, most dudes don't have a problem with. What they have a problem with is when the standards, the criteria upon which we decide who is great or greater and who is not, is something somebody would have a problem with. If you want to look at LeBron's skill set in a vacuum and you compare that to Kobe, Kobe's a pragmatist. He can't control that. It's a matter of opinion. It means nothing to him. But
I think you're wrong there, Stephen A. I think Kobe Bryant cares a lot. He definitely cares where his name fits in being the GOAT. He's super competitive. Kobe Bryant is super competitive, just like MJ was. Those guys are super competitive. So for them to not care about being the greatest of all time, what were they playing for? They were playing to be the greatest basketball player ever, to win championships. That's the whole reason why they played. So for them to say, I don't care about this, it doesn't matter to me, you know they're lying. You know they're lying. Those guys are super competitors. So let's keep going.
If you hold LeBron James to a different and softer standard than you held him accountable to, then he, along with Jordan and Isaiah and all of those Hall of Famers who were champions, have a real problem with you. Because what they will bring up to you is what they had to endure towards the road to prosperity. They will bring up the pitfalls, the minefields, the trials and tribulations that they were forced to endure and had to overcome in order to be validated as champions. And so if somebody comes along and then all of a sudden gets soft or glad hands or soft pedals another superstar on the come up in a later generation, and then you want to say that that person is better than them without putting them through that fire that you put their predecessors through, then they get offended because...
Exactly, Stephen A. They will get offended because let's look at the trials and tribulations between Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James. So Michael Jordan, what was his trials and tribulations? He had to get through the Detroit Pistons. He had to get through the bad boys, Isaiah Thomas, Dennis Rodman. He had to get through those guys. Twice he got beat. But what happened? He came back. He beat them. He's 6-0. He got through his trials and tribulations. Let's look at Kobe Bryant. What was Kobe Bryant's trials and tribulations? He won 3 rings with Shaquille O'Neal, and then once Shaq left, everybody was like, oh, well, only reason why Kobe Bryant won is because he had Shaq with him. Can he win without Shaq? Can he do without Shaq? And guess what? Guess what he did? He won 2 rings without Shaq. By himself, pretty much. What, Paul Gasol was there? Maybe Ron Artest? A couple other guys? Kobe Bryant got over his trials and tribulations, and you don't even want to talk about his trials and tribulations with the whole ordeal in Colorado, with the old girl in Colorado and the whole case that he had. Talk about his life being turned upside down. He came back and he took care of business on the court. Now let's look at LeBron. Let's look at LeBron's trials and tribulations. His first couple years with Cleveland, things were working out. His trials and tribulations were a little bit too tough. So what did he say? He said, I'm going to kick rocks. I'm going to go to another team. He went to a team that's already built in Miami. So he can win not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 championships, right? Well, that didn't quite work out. He only got 2 rings. Then things started going bad. So he said, I can't deal with this. These trials and tribulations are a little bit too much. So let me kick rocks and left Dwayne Wade standing there, chilling. Then he went back to Cleveland. He had to go to Cleveland that was made up. He tried to make a super team. So he got 1 ring, but things started just not working out again because his super team, his hand-picked super team, just wasn't cutting it. He had a team hop. Michael Jordan never had to hop around. He never had to jump teams. He took care of business at home no matter what. Kobe Bryant didn't have to jump ship. He didn't have to team hop. He stayed at home. He took care of business at home. Unlike LeBron James, he ran from all his trials and tribulations. So what's he going to do now? Things don't look good. Things don't look good at all in LA right now. Is he going to jump ship again? What's going to happen? Let's keep going.
You're changing the standard. And that is what Hall of Famers have a problem with. So if you Kobe and you looking at LeBron and you just saying this 6'9", 260, muscle bound, could play 4 different positions, 5 different positions, does X, Y, and Z over the course of 82 games, that's cool. But if you want...
And I would almost say Kobe Bryant's not worried about no LeBron James. He's not worried about him. LeBron's only got 3 rings. And this year, you know who's not going to get a ring this year. And it doesn't look good for this next year. Kobe ain't worried about no LeBron. He's not worried about him at all. Let alone have Michael Jordan be worried about LeBron. Not at all. Now, maybe if LeBron had 5 rings like Kobe, maybe if LeBron was a little bit more closer in that department with Kobe, maybe Kobe might have something to worry about. But other than that, ain't nobody worried about no LeBron James, Mr. 3-6 Mafia. Man, let's keep it going.
To sit up there and say, well, you know what? LeBron had to go through as much as Kobe had to go through in order to get to the point that he got to. Now Kobe's dismissing you. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You don't need to be talking about basketball. And he's not alone, because most of those elite Hall of Famers think exactly like that.
You and I just see this differently. I say this. I appreciate what Kobe said. When you leave it all on the court, when you do anything in life at 100% of your capacity, then you, of course, it's not that you have no regrets. Of course, I'm sure Kobe looks back, I could have done this differently in hindsight. But he gave a maximum effort at all times, like the way Westbrook does now, right? He did his best, and he's saying, I'll let the chips fall, and I can't argue my side. That argument will go on forever. He doesn't want to engage in an argument without definitive criteria, like this means you're better. If there's no real way to prove it, then he doesn't want it. I appreciate what he's saying. But the fact is, I think he probably feels a certain kind of way about, as you do, about LeBron James being the one constantly compared to Michael Jordan. And I've brought this up in the past, but on health. But I'm going to bring this up again. Harold Bloom, the literary critic, brings up an idea called the anxiety of influence. Since all writers know what came before them and built on the literary tradition, they all have anxiety about the influence of Shakespeare, who's the greatest all-time writer, right? And I think that NBA players suffered from the anxiety of influence since Michael Jordan. Kobe Bryant wore 24. Why do you think he won? Well, it's because, no. It's because Jordan wore 23. He was trying to be one better. He's saying, I'm Jordan 2.0. In fact, he was Jordan 0.9, actually. He didn't quite get there, but that's a valiant thing to do, actually. I'm going to try to do that better than the original even did it. And he got close, not quite there, but close. But it's an easy comparison to make. Jordan to Kobe. They play the same position. They're about the same size. Kobe modeled his game after Jordan's clearly. I mean, he even modeled the way he spoke and dressed at an early stage in his career, clearly after Jordan.
Hey, but guess what, Max? So if Kobe emulated everything that Michael Jordan did, and he got 5 rings and everything that goes along with that, his whole body of work, and you call him a copycat Jordan, I would rather have that than be like LeBron James and do something different and be 3-6 in the finals. Easily, all day, every day. You can call me a copycat all you want. I'm closer to MJ than you are. Let's keep going.
LeBron comes along, and I would describe LeBron as the first or the greatest postmodern player. He was the first player to come along, and he wore 23. He goes, I'm not wearing 24, I'm wearing 23. Yeah, Jordan was my idol and all that, but he wasn't just trying to be like Mike. He did a new thing. And because he was a new kind of player, like Jordan and Magic had a baby, right? Since he was a new kind of player, it's not so easy to directly compare him to MJ, and therefore the argument is more interesting. The Kobe-Jordan argument's not that interesting because it's so easy to compare them, and you can clearly see Jordan was a little better. But although Jordan's also better than LeBron, it's a more interesting argument because he was doing a new thing. And in that way, I do think Kobe looks and goes, what can I do? I did the best I could. This is what I did. Now I'm moving on.
And also, I think what it is a lot of people that say LeBron is as good, if not better than Michael Jordan, they're living in a moment. Especially forgetting about Kobe, they're living in the moment. LeBron's the hottest thing right now. He's arguably the best player in the league. Let's see what happens in 10 years. When you talk about LeBron, Kobe, and MJ, I bet you MJ and Kobe will be stuck together closer than LeBron will. I bet you eventually LeBron's going to drift further and further back behind those two. Especially when people want, the argument is just, it's too strong of an argument to throw down LeBron when you mention that 3 and 6. That's just too strong. Way too strong. So let's keep going.
Do you think he feels a certain kind of way about the love LeBron gets as a player who did a new thing and is therefore kind of more fun to compare to MJ?
Well, then that's both sides, and I get it. But I guess what I'm saying to you is that, you know, when you talk about Kobe Bryant, yes, there's a pragmatism that comes along with one side of the argument because he can't control certain things, and that's just the way that it is. The other side to it is, again, looking at us and holding us accountable. I can't emphasize this enough. Every single star that I have ever spoken to that has played in any sport, they are dogged about making sure that the standard under which they were held accountable for is applicable to their successors, those who follow. It really is offensive to them. I can't tell you how many times, Max, I've been doing this show, and I have been confronted by the creme de la creme of superstars that have ever played sports, okay? And I have been, verbally speaking, violently confronted about how in the hell could you let this person off the hook and not say to Stephen A., you said this years ago, you said this. How the hell did they get off the hook? Didn't you hold us to that standard? What the hell are you doing? And they're very, very serious. They're not joking about it. They mean it because that standard